Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me on Weather Ghost, here to give you some updates on the tropics in the Atlantic Ocean, which is getting more and more active as we speak. So, first of all, our fourth named storm of the season has formed earlier this morning. Tropical storm Dexter, currently located in the northwestern part of the Atlantic Ocean. Luckily, this one is going to stay off land throughout its lifespan, and no significant impacts really expected from it. So here's the latest information. Winds of 45 miles per hour, pressure of 1002 millibars, 34.3 degrees north, 69.4 degrees west, moving east-northeastward at a speed of around 12 miles per hour. That's going to pick up more as we progress with this week. And in general, it's pretty far off land at the moment, located in the part of the ocean just between the island of Bermuda and the eastern coast of the USA. So here's what we're expecting from Dexter in the next couple of days. We're expecting it to remain as a mid-range tropical storm throughout its lifespan. It's going to track northeastward continuously, and around Wednesday it will turn post-tropicals. After that, it will still retain pretty much the same trajectory until it's absorbed into the massive jet stream towards the northern latitude. And in general, not much impact expected from Dexter apart from perhaps some sort of rain shower that could be brought upon Bermuda in the next few days. So here's what Dexter looks like right now. You can see the front related to the storm boundary that is situated along the eastern coast of the US is now disassociated with Dexter, hence why NXC is quite confident that the system is in fact fully tropical now. So that's why it's been named and upgraded to a tropical storm. Some decent high cloud tops covering the low-level circulation. Occasionally some good outer flow coming off the storm. Not an awful lot of circulation due to a relatively higher wind shear affecting it. The temperature of the cloud tops also not incredibly low. When it's lower, the lower it is, the stronger the system is. But now, some of them is only as low as -60 on 70 in some small spots of those flared up convection. But in general, the structure is looking half decent, generally what a low-range tropical storm should be looking like normally. So Dexter is not going to impact the US, but the storm boundary that we were mentioning earlier could be fueling another area of interest to develop gradually. So the Atlantic Sea has labeled another area of interest off the southeastern coast of the USA, which has a 30% low chance of development into a tropical cyclone in the next 7 days or so. But bear in mind that the probability is 0% in the next 2 days, which indicate that this is quite a long-range kind of forecast. So nothing significant expected in the next 2 days just yet. So nothing to really panic about at this very moment. But is the condition favorable for any cyclonic development? Well, it's quite hard to predict at the moment because the system hasn't even really formed yet. We can't tell where it is or how it's looking like. But take an example of sea surface temperature maintaining at around 29 degrees off the coast of southeastern US in fact. Some spot even reaching for 30 degrees. So that is definitely quite warm and quite favorable for development of tropical cyclone if that system is to actually become something significant or real. So this is the easy ENS model. You can see the small portion of members beginning to expect a tropical wave to form later this week. Then it could develop into a tropical depression or tropical storm that could impact the Carolinas or even Georgia and Florida in the next couple of days. But you can see the prediction are quite scattered all over the place, which just emphasizes the model has quite a few uncertainties about what this system is going to do. This is emphasized by the GFS model forecast. You can see nothing really going on in the next 2 days, but look at that. On Thursday, a tropical depression could appear pretty close to the coastline, about a few hundred or 100 miles off the coastline. Then it will make its way towards the northwest, probably hitting South Carolina at the weekend as a tropical depression. Some models are actually expecting it to probably form, but it won't be something too intense at all. So again, nothing to really struggle or worry about at this moment. Even if it forms, it's likely to be quite weak and the impact wouldn't be crazy. So remember that tropical wave in Central Africa we were mentioning about in yesterday's video. because you should remember that because you should have watched it. But if you haven't watched it, never mind. We will continue to monitor that in this video. So that one has really sped up and now it's arrived in the western coast of Africa, about to enter the Atlantic Ocean. The NHC is estimating it to have a 50% chance, moderate, to develop in the next 7 days ahead of us. So the NHC is even saying a tropical depression could form late this week. So they are quite confident about this, a potential tropical cyclone to become something that we have to watch out for. As you can see it in the main possible development zone, this system is covering the main development region of the Atlantic Ocean. So that is where the system is likely to have intensification and gradual development. So it has a pretty big space for intensification if we're looking at that right now. So is the condition favorable again? Well, sea surface temperature-wise, it's not astronomically high in that main development region of tropical cyclones, around 27-28 degrees. Still, however, sustainable for gradual intensification for a tropical cyclone, which not the best condition right now. Some spots of 20, 25, even 30 knots here and there. This wall of high wind shear where the system is likely to move into later this week is going to create some struggle for it to organize itself fully earlier in its lifespan. So we are not really expecting any rapid intensification to occur in the early lifespan of this system, but it's still going to develop, likely to be gentle and progressive. So let's look at the EZNS again, this time a larger amount of members expecting at least a tropical storm to form later this week in the open Atlantic Ocean. Then it will move northwestward with some gradual intensification occurring. Some members actually expecting a hurricane to intensify early next week, winds of up to 70 to 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, in this forecast, this one is going to stay off land throughout its lifespan. It's not going to move towards the US, it's going to curve towards the northern side of things, then make a run into the northern altitude of the Atlantic. But watch out for this. The GFS forecast is telling a very, very different story. You can see on Thursday a spin-up beginning to occur. That's likely when it will become a tropical depression or a tropical storm. Then the main tropical storm force will be concentrated towards the northern side of the center, likely due to the higher wind shear we were talking about earlier. That will remain in the path of this system this week. But watch out here. The GFS is very different from the European model here because they don't expect this system to curve towards the north. Instead, it will move towards the western side of the Atlantic. As you can see on Thursday, it will reach the Bahamas, perhaps even as a hurricane, maybe a Category 1 here. Then it's going to make landfall in Florida, probably as a strong Category 2 hurricane. And then it's definitely not what we want here. This is very bad. So the main uncertainty right now is whether the high pressure area will weaken enough that allows the system to curve more towards the north and stay away from land, or whether the bad scenario is the high pressure area will remain stronger than expected and lead to the system taking a path more towards the west, which is the worst scenario. And if the GFS forecast does happen, it's going to have a quite bad impact on a lot of land, including Florida, probably the eastern coast of the US. So that is not what we want, but we're going to have to say again, there's a lot of uncertainty about this system, but we have to stay cautious about this potential tropical cyclone, and we will be staying tuned about this system. So remember to watch our next videos. So thanks for joining me this morning. We will catch up on the new updates very soon. Subscribe, share, and like. Most importantly, have a fantastic day. Thank you.